Hello footy fans and welcome to another episode of How Good is Rugby League. My name is Emmanuel Penklis and joining me, Michael Corbin. Michael?
Emmanuel, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Good. Both our teams had good victories on the weekend, which always makes our moods better when we're doing this podcast.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you one thing that does make our mood better is picking a great New South Wales team.
Yeah, it helps. It helps. Not many changes, but changes in important positions, I think is the key here.
Yeah, look, I think so. 5 changes in total for New South Wales. 4 out of 4 players that probably would have been picked in the Game 1 squad if they were healthy.
Yeah.
And 1 player through forced substitution because Joseph Suaalii was suspended. So do you want to run through them?
Yeah, so obviously at fullback we have Dylan Edwards, who was scratched just before Origin 1. He's come in to replace James Tedesco. Latrell Mitchell has come in at centre to replace Suaalii. You have Cameron Murray in the second row. Who was the other one? I just forgot, Mike.
Connor Watson
at number 14. So yeah, it's good. It's exciting. I think it's just it's a more balanced team.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It is definitely more balanced. You've got a lot more depth at position. Like Connor Watson obviously covers this whole deeper position. There's a lot more points in this team.
I forgot Mitchell Moses, by the way.
Mitchell Moses.
Yeah.
Mitchell Moses. Yes, yeah. I wasn't paying attention to you.
No, it was like a clear, obvious choice. So I was like, Mitchell Moses also would have been there. He's the cleared second half for New South Wales in the event Nathan Cleary goes down. We've seen that the last couple of years. I just think it's a better team. We spoke about a lot of things. Obviously, we had 12 players last time for most of that game. It's hard to judge performance. But things that let us down were our kicking game, our ability to swing momentum based on that. You now have Cherry Evans up against Mitchell Moses. I think they're 2 of the top 3 kicking games in the competition, especially long range. And I think even having Latrell, you've seen it the last few weeks for Souths, it's just another option for kicking duties that helps Luai and Moses in the event that they need that as well.
Yeah, you look at Queensland and they have kicking at basically all their at fullback with Walsh, DCE and Dearden can both kick the ball. Harry Grant and Ben Hunt can both kick the ball as well.
Yeah.
So the fact that we've now got Mitchell Moses, you've now got Connor Watson who can kick out a dummy half if needed. You've got Latrell Mitchell who has that ginormous bomb. Not quite Matt Burton level, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
And then obviously Jerome Luai, Mitch Moses, I think, long kicking game. There was that game earlier on in the season where it was DCE versus Moses, and Moses outkicked him.
Yeah.
So I'm quite confident in we have a lot more points, and on Latrell, like he's the big inclusion, right?
Yep.
And there's a lot said about whether he's up for this or what's going to happen, whatnot. The way I see it is the player that Queensland fear the most is Latrell Mitchell. On his day, he's the best the most damaging and best ball runner in the NRL. He has the best catch and pass in the NRL. That is a fact. His hands are incredible for someone his size. And he's just insanely athletic and just freakishly talented.
But it's what he does without the ball too. I always think of Mark Gasnier when I think of this. He will just attract players, regardless of whether he has the ball or not. He can be the decoy there, and the players will instinctively try and cover him, and it takes 2 or 3 to stop him, and then he's the decoy player as well. So I think, he comes with risk, right? He is very talented, but he comes with risk. You saw it on the weekend. He got sin-binned in the Souths Broncos game for coming in and escalating the situation in protection of his captain, Cameron Murray. And quite topical, but this is something that Queensland will exploit. They will target him. They will pressure him. They will try and push him into a situation where he does something reactionary, where he gets volatile. They'll push his buttons on anything where it might make him react, look to punch someone, strangle them like he did with Sean Johnson earlier in the year. And I think there's been a whole lot of conversation about Reece Walsh being targeted by the Blues and blah, 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 but they're going to do exactly the same thing in this. It's all a sideshow. This is Origin football. Everyone is a target.
Yeah, they're definitely going to try and antagonise him. That's what they're going to do. And look, that's on Latrell not letting them get under his skin. And to do that, you just need to play better football than they do, right? Because if you're winning, then there's nothing they can do, right? If you're playing better than them and you're dominating, there is nothing that they can say that should be able to get underneath your skin. And I'm very happy with this team. I genuinely think that we will win this game. I was not confident in game one. And this is the thing with tipping state of origin. Everyone picks your state, right? You look at Fox Sports, you look at Channel 9 when it comes up, who the experts have picked. It's loyalty. It's Brandy's picked New South Wales, Cooper Cronk's picked Queensland. No one's ever going to pick against their own state. It's never going to happen. You can't be seen doing it, right? Yeah. We did the same. It's very difficult to pick against your own team. Yeah. Really difficult. I genuinely think that we can do it this year, this game.
Yeah. I want to talk about, so obviously Suaalii is out, Tedesco's out. The other three though, Nico, Hudson Young, Cam McInnes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nico, that's his second attempt in the Origin arena. Last year's obviously not crash hot. This year's not much better, both in circumstances where it was kind of beyond his control to have a good game. But in any case, is this experiment done, or is this the next Mitchell Pearce experiment for the Blues, do we think? Do we think he's just going to be this is his time, he's ready for it now, and this is going to be the lingering, burning question that we have to deal with for the next 5 years?
I think that he will get another shot. Yeah. Unfortunately, Nico's 2 games that he has played have, he's almost been set up to fail.
Yeah.
That first game he came in at centre, never played centre in his life, and gets beat by Munster, right? So many people have been beaten by Munster. He gets all the blame. He gets dropped.
Yeah.
Right. This game here, obviously, all the halves that New South Wales wanted to select were injured, right? He gets picked, and then the centre outside him gets sent off in the 7th minute. He gets moved out to centre. New South Wales don't adjust quickly enough, and it's then his fault. He loses confidence. He puts in a bad kick. And then all of a sudden, it's Nico's had a shocker, right? I don't think that he is an Origin 7, the way his game is. I think he could be a great Origin 6. And I think going forward, a great combination for New South Wales can be Cleary and Hines. I think that's what it's going to be in the future, right? Obviously, I think coming into this year, everyone had Cleary and Moses as your halves pairings.
Yeah.
Right, Moses has played a little bit of 6 in his career at the start with the Tigers, but and the big question about Nico is, can he play on the left side compared to the right side where he normally plays? I think he can. I think that's an adjustment. Just remember, he's 3 years into playing halfback in the NRL.
Yeah.
Right. Mitchell Moses is 10 years into playing.
So the question I have is, why did we run that experiment then?
We ran out of players.
Fair. All right, that's fine.
It's not like he was playing bad. The Sharks were at the top of the table when he got picked.
Yeah, I know, but his big game experience is not ideal. Cam McInnes. So Cam Murray replaces him. Cam Murray, I think, probably just a little bit more going to play the style that Madge is looking for. Both workmanlike, but I think Murray probably has a bit more skill.
I think if you were picking game 1 and Cam Murray was healthy, he would be the 13.
Yeah.
He would also probably be the captain.
Yeah.
Right? Cam Murray and we saw it at the back end of last year, he was the starting 13 in game 3 when we won, and he's come straight back into this squad and replaced McInnes, and Yo hasn't come into 13. It's been Cam Murray put back into 13.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the first players picked if healthy.
Yeah.
Right? He's a set and forget, as in you pick him, you know you're getting whatever you he's a perfect Origin 13.
Safe option. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you. And then Hudson Young drops out.
Yeah, and look, McInnes, I just think it's unlucky. I just think that his role is a bit redundant when you've got Yo, you've got Trbojevic, you've got Murray. Yeah. You just don't need another middle forward
I think he probably replaced Murray in the like-for-like tackle efficiency, but other than that, he doesn't have the skill set.
No, and Murray's play the ball is just so good for Origin.
Yeah.
Hudson Young, again, 25-minute stint. A second row, we've got Ola Kawatu, we've got Isaiah Yo. He doesn't. I think Connor Watson would have been picked in game one if he was healthy, which is what I said. Like the 4 of the 5 guys who have replaced, who have come into this squad would have
We're
been
all
there game one.
unavailable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we're all unavailable game one. Connor Watson is Craig Wing-esque in like his utility value. He can play any position in the forward pack. He can play almost any position in the back line. I just think that, he just offers so much more value, and you can bring him on with Reece Robson or replace Reece Robson and have like a genuine hooker threat there. So, I just think that Hudson Young, again, will play Origin. It's just at this point in time, doesn't really fit into this squad.
Yeah. The other thing I'm wondering is how the rotations are going to change now with Watson going into that role. It gives a bit more flexibility to the team, I think, that if a back goes down, Watson can fill in, which probably means that forwards are going to play better. I just want to see that forward rotation working better. And I think that having Murray there actually might help that a bit.
Yeah, Murray's also very versatile, but like the way I would see it is Jake and Yo should split minutes, 40 each.
Yeah.
Right? Jake should not be playing 25 minutes. He should be playing 40.
Yeah.
Right? I would assume Murray would play close to 55, 60 minutes.
Yeah.
I would assume Reece Robson plays close to 55, 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Payne Haas the same. Sorry. And then Connor Watson, Homole Olakwatu, Spencer Leniu replace those other minutes. Watson can go between lock and 9.
Yeah.
And everyone else plays middle forward minutes.
Yeah. And I guess he's the middle forward, the the outside back cover as well. If things go pear-shaped.
Yeah, exactly. If he can play centers if you need to. He's got enough speed to fill in those positions, or say like a winger goes down, you move Crichton to the wing, and Watson into the centers. I think that's what would happen.
Yeah. Okay. Queensland has 2 changes. So one of them is forced. One of them is a bit of a surprise. So Hopgood is out. I think he's been injured since Origin 1.
Yeah, he came on. He played like 23 or 4 minutes in that game a couple of weeks ago, and then just couldn't finish the game.
Yeah, and the other one is Cobbo, a bit more controversial. And so Felice Kafusi's come in, and so has Capewell. So 2 veterans, a lot of experience between them. So no shortage there of experience. They're just strong, tough players. But I think in terms of spark, Cobbo was really something else in Origin 1. Billy's dropped him, said there's niggling injuries and there's other things to work on in the game. So I'm not quite sure what to make of this one, but I just think that Slater wanted the more experienced option given the changes to the Blues lineup.
Yeah, I think that his understanding is they've got Gagai at 18th man. If there is foul play, that they can replace a back with Gagai.
Yeah.
Right? Also, New South Wales game plan in game 1 was so clear that they just want to punch you up the throat, like right down the middle.
Yeah.
And we did. Even with 12 men, we were able to do that. I think they just wanted to improve that middle stock. Felice Kafusi on the weekend moved to prop. I loved how Gus was saying in the game that sometimes as a second row, you just get a tap on the shoulder from the coach saying, it's your time, you're moving into the middle.
Yeah.
You're not fast enough to be on the edge anymore, and you don't really get a say in it.
Yeah.
But Felice is an exceptional player, been great at Origin level for however long he's been playing, and he'll do a job for them.
Colin Matangi had that conversation for Souths a few weeks ago as well.
He's young.
He is young as well. But yeah, it should be a good game. In Melbourne, so the other challenge, of course, is the round field. The round pitch, but the square field on the round pitch. So
yeah, it doesn't disorientate players with the kicking game. You hear that so often. They've played on round fields enough, I think, in their time that it's now not too much of a factor, but no problem.
Yeah, if I'm the Blues, I'm probably having a session at the SCG, but everyone has played there recently because the Roosters had that as their home ground, so it's not that disorienting for anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty.
So I'm assuming that we're going to do a pod after Origin. It's a Thursday night.
Yep.
So prediction for game 2.
Yeah, New South Wales 26-12.
26-12. Wow, that's a big scoreline. I'm going to go New South Wales 30-22.
Also a big scoreline.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of points.
It's bigger than mine.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of points.
Yeah.
Man of the match, I think, will be Latrell Mitchell.
Okay. Man of the match, Dylan Edwards.
Okay. Yeah, very safe. One thing I'm really curious about is Dylan Edwards doesn't really pop up on the right side, on the left side for Penrith.
Yeah.
Does he do that in Origin?
Yeah.
Or does he just play the right side, let Latrell run the left side type thing with Luai? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, a lot of dynamics in camp as well. I'm interested to see how Spencer Leniu and Latrell are gelling.
Yeah, that was something that came up, but Hines was just as outspoken about Latrell during that obviously the incident in Vegas.
Yeah,
and apparently they've hashed it out and it's all good now.
Yeah,
I hope so.
You hope.
Yeah,
I hope too, Michael.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Okay.
In the meantime, there's NRL to be played.
There is an NRL to be played. There's also the women's game next game 3 next Thursday.
Yes.
Game 3 up in Queensland. Decider. Huge game. Queensland and New South Wales teams are basically unchanged.
Yeah.
Should be a really good game. I'm excited. Should be a dry track compared to what we saw in game 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick New South Wales because I don't want to pick Queensland.
Well, they did it up there last year, didn't they? I think they won that game in Townsville.
They did. It ended up not mattering though because I think they didn't win by enough points, so Queensland won the series.
Yeah, of course.
And
they did.
obviously game 1 we won at Suncorp. So
yeah. There's no reason we can't. I mean, we're in that game until the last second. So we got the advantage, but all psychological from here.
Yeah, there was also we were battered and bruised in that game too. Jess Surgis and Jamie Chapman were both limping at the end of those games. I think they're both a bit healthier now. So yeah, hopefully. Also, State of Origin under 19s is being played on Thursday night.
Yep.
Women and men's. So 5:45 women, 7:50 men's.
Yeah.
At Leichhardt Oval.
Yeah.
You might think, why does this game matter? Last year's man of the match?
Tell me.
Ethan Strange.
There you go. There you go. Leichhardt Oval, very important now.
Yeah.
Special funding announced on the weekend for it.
Yeah.
But no one wants to play there.
Player to watch, coming through the grades, Mitch Woods for the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Player of the year in SG Ball and Harold Masson back-to-back years. He's 18 years, he's 17 years old, I believe, so he can play under 19s again next year. He is the halfback of the future for the Dogs. I think it's why they haven't recruited a genuine star halfback to the club, because they have complete faith in this kid.
Yeah. Gus is just kind of biding his time, isn't he?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Should we get into it?
Round 16.
Round 16. Big top 4 clash on Friday night, but no Origin stars for either side. So Dolphins hosting Melbourne. This game is at Suncorp Stadium. Trey Fuller fills in for the Hammer, while Bromwich returns from a rib injury for Kafusi. Tavita Pangai Jr. makes his club debut off the bench. Jesus. And for the Storm, Pap returns after missing 5 games with an ankle injury. So Farlongo shifts to the wing, filling the whole field left by Coates during Origin duty absence. Warbrick is back from hip flexor on the other wing, so Grant Anderson shifts to the centres. Dean Jeremiah drops to the reserves. Bronson Garlick comes in at 9 for Harry Grant. Liero is named at lock and will be released from Queensland camp for Friday's game. Can we talk about the Hammer?
I was just about to say, that try that he scored to win the game on Thursday night was one of the greatest individual tries I've ever seen.
Yeah, I have 2 favourite players in the NRL at the moment, Mike. The Hammer and Stephen Crichton.
You're marking up against each other.
And and they both just, in the last 2 weeks, they've absolutely excelled themselves between what Stephen Crichton did in the Bulldogs game on the King's birthday long weekend and what the Hammer did last week. Just awesome. Absolutely awesome superstars, champions, but just also so humble, modest players that just get on with it. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing at the humble, they asked him after the game on panel. It's has Billy, giving you a game plan for Origin. Like, I hope I get the call up again.
Yeah.
It's like, you're getting the call up. What are you doing?
And it's just like, how refreshing is it to see that? Like, just no tickets. He's awesome.
Yeah, no, he was fantastic. He was electric. There's maybe 2 or 3 players in the NRL who could score that try.
Yeah.
And maybe that's being generous.
Yeah.
It could be one and it could just be him.
Yeah. Okay, so this game is first versus fourth. The Dolphins surprised everyone last week. They went down and had a solid win in Cronulla.
First win ever in Sydney.
First win ever in Sydney. You flagged that they had a huge lead and they gave that almost gave it up. But a win is a win. They're in the top 4. Everyone's surprised that they're that high up. You would think they would drop out given the competition behind them, but they're looking good at the moment.
Yeah, I think they are looking good at the moment. Their draw does get a bit harder at the back end of the season.
Yeah.
They do start versing the likes of Penrith, Brisbane, Storm this week.
Yeah.
Roosters.
Yeah.
I believe they versed the Dogs as well a couple of times. So and Souths. Yeah. Oh, look, Souths are a good team at the moment.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's not going to be a walkover.
No.
Who you got for this one?
It's a really tough one. I think I'm going to go the Dolphins at home.
Okay, Saturday afternoon, Titans hosting the Warriors. Saturday at 3 p.m. I feel like these guys just played a few weeks ago. David Fafita returns after missing round 15 with an ankle injury in a boost for the Titans. Keenan Palacia starts at prop. Mo Fotuaika is still on origin duty. Cleese Haas will miss the game due to injury. Stimson and Isaac Fasuma Alawi are the new faces on the bench. For the Warriors, RTS returns from a hamstring injury in the centres. Cozy comes in for DWZ, who's suspended. Kate Wells on origin duty. Mitch Barnett is on origin duty. Dylan Walker moves to the second row. Tohu Harris to lock. Tom Ale and Jacob Laban join the bench. And Rocco Berry is sidelined with a shoulder injury.
Yeah, they did play a couple of weeks ago. The Warriors won, I believe, by 2 points. But I think... the Titans won. It was their first win of the season.
Yeah.
I'm going to go the Warriors in this one, though. The Warriors have this really big problem this year where they play insanely dominant football.
Yeah.
Right. For the first 25 minutes of a game, they only score 12 points, and then they let the lead go, and they can't get back into the contest.
Yeah. Not great.
Not great. They were playing really well without Sean Johnson. Sean Johnson comes back in, and they go back to their old ways. I don't know. Is he the problem? I'm not sure. There's something wrong there. That was a really bad performance against the Cowboys. Really, really bad. Cowboys?
Yeah. No, Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Yeah. Okay. So who you got?
Warriors.
Roosters host the Bulldogs in Gosford on Saturday night. Roosters will be without Collins, Crichton, Lenu, Connor Watson, and Michael Jennings, who got injured last week. Dom Young returns from a hamstring injury. Ponga moves into the centres, while JWH, Brandon Smith, and Terrell May make up a new front row. Nat Butcher joins the starting side in the back row, while Steep, Satili, and Sua Wong are the new faces on the bench. For the Dogs, Karaz shifts to the centres to replace Stephen Crichton, and Skelton comes in on the wing for his first NRL action of the season. Curran returns from HIA. Jacob Preston sidelined with a foot injury. Turpin and Farmasuli join the bench with Kurt Mann out. Addo Carr will miss the game after suffering a hamstring injury in round 14, and Kikau is listed on the reserves as he looks to push for a return from a finger injury. They've got their injury problems, the Dogs, but their defence is still amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they go without Stephen Crichton, who is their voice, their leader.
Yeah.
Matt Burton. We didn't mention Matt Burton being omitted from the side.
No.
I think a part of the reason why he was left off the squad was because he's been 18th man 4 times in a row now and hasn't played for New South Wales. And I think that the Bulldogs probably put their foot down and said, no, we want him to play.
Yeah, it didn't really make sense, did it? So in the extended squad is Luke Keary's in it, but he's going to play this weekend anyway.
Yeah, I just think that...
I I get it.
Yeah, I understand it from the Dogs' perspective. I don't think it's anything against Matt Burton as in the selection. I think it was the team just saying, no, we want him available for our team.
Yeah.
It's getting ridiculous. I'm going to tip the Roosters. The refs did not try and help us in the game against Parramatta. There was Parramatta, by the way, tried to milk so many penalties. The league needs to do something about it. Honestly, it's insane. It happened.
Football, Mike.
It happened in the Dragons game as well. Kyle Flanagan had to go off for an HIA for trying to milk a penalty, and it ended up costing him 15 minutes. Good.
Yeah.
Right. These players should be getting. If you're caught milking a penalty, fine them.
Yeah. There are a couple of coaches that really push for it. I think it's so bad. But
Terrible
that Parramatta game was just awful. Like, he was hit nowhere near with the head. I can't remember who it was.
It was Kelma Tuolangi.
Yeah.
And then Brendan Hands tried to milk a tackle like 10 minutes later, 5 tackles later.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I'm going to go the Roosters. Teddy and his newly laminated eyebrows. As Emanuel
I didn't say anything.
So avidly pointed out to me after the game against the Eels.
Something looked different. He looked like he had work done. Can I say? And that's fine. You got to do what you got to do. You know, his late career, he's a poster boy. I don't know what the Roosters are making their players do. Okay, can we move on?
Yeah.
Souths host the Roosters on Saturday night at Accor Stadium. Souths are favourites. Jai Gray makes his return from an ankle injury, taking over for Latrell. Murray's also on origin duty, so Liam LeBlanc joins the 17 for his NRL debut. Arrow's been named to play despite suffering a rib injury last week. And for Manly, DCE, Jake Trbojevic and Olakau'atu are on origin duty. Carl Lawton at halfback and Nathan Brown and Corey Waddell are starting in the back row. Paseka and Garrick are both out after injuries, and Bullimore starts at prop and Shoop comes in at centre. 4 new faces on the bench with Gordon, Chan Kum Tong, Aitasi James and Ben Condon and Caleb Navale. Manly were very gutsy last week, Michael. They were really limited in their players in the second half. I think they were down to 13 men for a little bit, and then someone passed an HIA. The Dragons just capitulated, but I think the Cherry Evans kicking game, the Brookvale crowd, a couple of the big factors that aren't going to be there this week.
Yeah, I think Cherry Evans basically put the team on his back after going down in the second half, trailing at the start of the second half. 13, as you mentioned, basically played a lot of the second half with 13 men. Just an incredible effort. Terrible effort by the Dragons. Just Shane Flanagan over-promising and under-delivering yet again. But yeah, huge game for the Manly Sea Eagles. But I think, no Olakau'atu, no Jake Trbojevic, no Cherry Evans. I mean, you also lose Paseka and Garrick. I'm gonna go Souths in this one.
Yeah.
I think Cody Walker, Jack Whiten, Damien Cook still. Jai Gray was really good at the start of the year. Yeah, I think that they can get it done. They've got a bit of form coming into this game as well.
Yeah, South's obviously looking better. They look to be playing more as a team. Defense still an issue, but I'm just enjoying that they're putting effort in. For me, that's probably the most important thing at this point in the season. Salvaging in a bit so it ends on a bit of a decent note would be nice. The one story that is really not being spoken about at the moment is the move of Cody Walker to the right side of the field means that Alex Johnson may never score a try again. I know he scored on the weekend and actually broke the record for most tries for a club, but he's in a bit of a drought with Cody Walker moving. The week before, Souths put on 46 and Alex Johnson didn't score. It was a late try in this one, but it's the action is really moved to the right side with Cody.
Yeah, I think he kind of scoring both sides. I just think that, Whiten doesn't move the ball as well as Cody does.
Yeah.
Which, Cody is exceptional at creating space for his outside men.
Yeah.
And that combination normally was with Latrell, who would also be good at passing. And I just maybe he's not scoring 25 tries a season. It might drop down to 15. Right. He's
He
20 away.
He has been injured. He's 20. So 191. He broke Slater's record for most tries for the club. The only person between him and the record is Ken Irvine now. So crazy.
Yeah, incredible stuff by AJ. Last game of the round.
Last game of the round, is the Tigers hosting the Raiders at Campbelltown. Galvin returns from a hand injury as 5'8", so Aiden Caesar moves to halfback. Arpi goes back to hooker. De Silva goes to the bench. Adam Dewey is listed among the reserves as he chases an NRL return. Laulii will play his first game of the season off the bench after making his debut in round 27 last year. And for Canberra, just the one change with Zach Wolford joining the bench in place of Tom Starling. No sign of Corey Horsburgh, who hasn't played since round 5. Broncos, Sharks, Newcastle, Cowboys, Para, Penrith, and Dragons all have buys. Who you got for this one, Michael?
This one's tough. Campbelltown, Tigers off the win. Raiders having a really bad game.
Really bad loss at home.
Yeah. I'm going to go the Raiders just because they're a top 8 team at the moment. They do have a very bad negative for and against.
Yeah.
For a top 8 side.
They did last year too.
I'm going to go the Raiders just because I think they bounced back a little bit, and I think experience normally gets them. This Tigers team doesn't have a huge amount of that, and I think Ricky would have fired them up a little bit after. I'll give them a bit of a grilling after that last game. You mentioned teams in the bye.
Yeah. Cowboys first.
Yeah, Cowboys first bye of the year.
Yeah.
They're actually on the same amount of wins as the Roosters.
Yeah. It's they've had some criticism.
Yeah.
Justified because they don't get the sort of the criticism that a Sydney club would get. But they had that win against the Roosters. They had that win against the Raiders, both away from home. It helps.
Yeah, but like you say that, and then in between they had that loss last week where they got absolutely pumped.
Yeah.
So
against the Warriors. It's inexplicable. It is
very inconsistent. There's a lot of teams right in that middle part of the ladder. Broncos really need a bye.
Yeah.
Like they're falling a little bit. They've lost 3 in a row. They need to find a bit of form. They're back 5. Other than really Dean Mariner had a pretty terrible game against South. Just a lot of handling errors.
Yeah.
And unforced handling errors, that is.
That I feel like Souths in that game were really ripe at times for the taking. Like they looked very vulnerable, and there was just no game management coming into it. And like obviously Reynolds not there, but I just thought someone else in the team might have stepped up and just given them a bit of composure, but it just seemed to be lacking in that. And I think sometimes, when you've got a player like Mam, and Cody Walker is the same because they just play I have my stable half, gives me the opportunity to do what I want. When you don't have that kind of player can feel the pressure to just sort of have the composure, build pressure, get repeat sets, park yourself down that end, and it's all like, this is the miracle play.
Yeah, and it's also a bit harder when you haven't got like a Latrell or a Reece Walsh at the back to alleviate some of that playmaking pressure as well.
Yeah. Payne Haas had a very quiet game, I thought.
Yeah, I think he did as well. I just think it was a really bad game for Brisbane. They're going to really enjoy this bye and regroup a little bit, hopefully get some troops back.
Yeah. Okay, so going through Michael's tips. Michael's gone the Dolphins over the Storm on Friday night. The Warriors to win on the Gold Coast. The Roosters to beat the Bulldogs. The Rabbitohs to beat Manly. And the Raiders to beat the Tigers.
That's correct.
Yeah. That's it. How'd you go in tipping last week?
I got 4 out of 8.
I got 3.
Yeah.
It's not going well. Tony Hetro, a few people got 5 actually.
You know why? 5 away teams.
Yeah, right. Well, it explains.
Camilla messaged us saying that away teams who don't tip can only get should only be allowed to get a maximum of 4 because they're killing her. I'm going to say this to you, Camilla. Shit better.
Jeez. We're meant to like our listeners, Michael, not attack them. Tony Hetro charging 6 points clear of you, Mike. Alex Beckett, Will Casamatis, and Clive rounding out the top 5. That's it.
Yep, that's it. As always, please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe. If you find us on YouTube or TikTok, interact.
We're on YouTube.
We are.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
There you go. Things you learn.
Yep. And one last thing, Emmanuel, how good is rugby league?
How good is rugby league?
Up the Blues.
Up the Bunnies.